Hey everyone, 95% of digital products fail, but what sets apart the 5% that succeed? That's what we're trying to figure out through conversations with industry experts, corporate leaders, executives, creatives, engineers, and other brilliant minds. Delivered is your window into the world of amazing products, bold business strategies, and innovation in practice. My name is Georgios Athanasiadis, and this show is brought to you by Infinum, a digital product company. Today, we're joined by Jon Brady. He is a lifelong athlete, global leader in fitness, and with over 30 years of business experience. He's currently serving as the president of Midtown Athletic Clubs. Known for his innovating approach to leadership, Jon will share his hard-earned lessons on adopting technology with purpose, building winning teams, and the trends that he believes that will shape the future of fitness. Before we jump in, since this is live, if you want to ask questions to Jon directly or myself, you can drop them in the chat and we will answer them at the end of the show. Now let's bring in Jon. Good morning, Jon. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Where does this show find you?
This show finds me in the middle of Des Moines, Iowa, which for anyone who knows anything about the United States is in the middle of the cornfield, the middle of the corn belt of the United States, the Midwest.
It's early in the morning. Thank you for joining us.
No problem. Happy to jump on.
Cool. So let's get straight to it. First off, tell us a little bit about who's Jon, your career journey. As I understand, it's been quite a ride for these past few years, and curious to learn.
Yeah, it has been a ride. It's been certainly an adventure, that's for sure. It's how we had a new hire come into our office earlier this week, and one of her questions to me was, how did you end up where you ended up here? And the answer to that is, Des Moines. The answer is take every opportunity you can, and try not to say no to things. But the reality of my journey is it started off in small town New Zealand. So I'm a Kiwi, and started off as coming out of high school, went to university as a education degree, and so came out as a physical education and mathematics teacher. Taught for about 7 or 8 years in New Zealand and around the world. Traveled, taught in the United States, taught in the UK. Tried to experience as many cultures in different parts of the world as I could. Have a very curious mindset, and so like to investigate and ask questions, and have always been that way. Even as a kid, my parents would say I was a bit of a pain in the backside for a lot of asking why, as most kids do, I guess. But mine didn't. I didn't grow out of it. So I then transitioned into sports management. Became a administrator for running sports events for high schools and in a region of New Zealand, and that eventually led me into professional rugby. So I was the CEO at a time when rugby was going from an amateur status to professional status. So I was at the ground floor really of developing professional rugby in New Zealand, and got to see a whole lot of change and manage a whole lot of change, and learned a lot through that process. Before then moving into the health and fitness industry, originally as a temporary break from professional sports administration. In 2003, I thought I'd take a year off, and from the grind that is professional sport, and went into health and fitness. I mean, which is where I have a long history with health and fitness, having played semi-professional soccer in New Zealand and having had to rehab from injuries a number of times and spent time in gyms and health clubs and what have you as I was playing, and so really was going into a situation that I felt pretty comfortable in, but really didn't know anything about running as a business. I'd been really on the other side of the table, so to speak. And that's where I've been for the past 22 years in the health and fitness industry, is running health clubs and club companies, and trying to make a difference in the world.
Very cool. And now you're at Midtown Athletics Club. So a lot of our listeners are in Europe, and Midtown is US based. For those who might not be familiar with Midtown Athletic Club, where it's coming from, but also how it's transformed today, could you give us an update?
Midtown Athletic Clubs is a premium end, so high-end luxury health club company. So we run tennis and fitness centers, fitness clubs that are large, full service. So, and I talk about large, I think our largest club is 70,000 square meters, so 700 square feet. And the smallest is about 300,000 square feet, so 30,000 square meters. So they take up a lot.
It's like a proper hotel size. It's a large thing. Yeah,
it's a large property. Yeah, we have tennis courts obviously take up a lot of space. When Midtown was first founded in 1970, it was originally the world's largest indoor tennis club. So the original club was founded in Chicago in 1970 and had 16 indoor tennis courts. It was the largest in the world at the time. It still has 16 indoor tennis courts, but now also has a boutique hotel, 2 restaurants, 3 bars, 4 swimming pools, boutique fitness studios, plenty of outdoor deck space, and covers 5 stories of what is almost an entire city block. So it's a very large operation now, but started very humbly as a tennis club, and has just evolved over. We like to talk of ourselves as a 55-year-old startup. We're constantly evolving, constantly changing, constantly moving.
That's how you stay young, right?
That's exactly right.
How would you be what does your mission statement or vision? How would you tell that to your team and to the world?
We have a purpose statement that is we exist to inspire people to transform their lives. And when we were founded, it wasn't written in so many words, but our founder, who only passed away a couple of years ago at the age of 92, had a vision for his tennis club. It wasn't for elite tennis players. It was for to create communities. He wanted people to play tennis in groups. At the time, tennis was very much a one coach, one player on a court. That's how you learned to play tennis. He wanted to create a community around tennis because that's where all his friends, he'd made his friends and his connections from. And so he sort of created I think it was at the time the world's first tennis group lesson concept. And so there were 6 or 7 players on a court with one coach. And so everyone was rotating and moving, and there was lots of action and activity going on. And then that would be followed by the group then meeting off court for either a debrief or some lunch or a glass of wine or whatever it might be. So his idea was that tennis was the center of creating communities, and that was back in 1970. So so the reason we exist is to inspire people to transform their lives through not just through physical means, but emotional, mental, and social as well.
Really nice. Yeah, I read somewhere that tennis players get very old because only that it's the physical activity, but it's also the social aspects that
right.
you need another player, so you need to have
Yeah, it's
contact
very
with
hard
other
to make
humans.
this by yourself. Yeah, that's for sure. And you have to do a lot of walking back to go and pick up the ball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a study that came out that said, out of all the sports that you can play, tennis players generally live longer than people who play other sports. Which we're talking about new societal trends and things about longevity, and people are talking about how do I live healthier for longer. And a lot of it is around, people are talking about biohacking. I think tennis was the original biohack. The studies are correct. They talk about, you can add 5 to 6 years to your life, and not just live longer, but live better, because you're with a community of people and you can share time with. And I think, one of the things that I wanted to talk about with you today is and you were going to ask me about, I think, is the trend we're seeing in society for people to be disconnected and to feel lonely. There's a loneliness epidemic happening globally for many reasons, but I think that as an industry we have a amazing opportunity, and I think tennis has proven that that community and connection and relationships really do matter to human beings, to people.
And also the I think the complexity of it, because it's a difficult sport. So it's like it's mentally, so you kind of challenge mind, body, and all those things while playing it. So
yeah, I think
cool.
that's right. It's a complex. There are lots of complex skills to continue to learn, and I think mentally that learning process helps to keep the mind healthy as much as the body.
Yeah. Thank you for getting us up to speed on Midtown. So, which now, for you, those who know, is a big success. And that was my next question, was around defining success. So, looking back, what do you think made Midtown the success it is today? And also, second part to that is, beyond the membership numbers, the ROI, and those kind of things, what does success mean for you personally?
Well, yeah, you're correct. Success is multifaceted, I think. When I first joined Midtown, and which was in 2013, I sat down with the family, the owner. The Midtown is family owned. It has been since 1970, and still is the same family. And I sat down with the owner and said, how will I know that I've been successful? How will you judge my success? And I'd worked in a private equity-backed business in a very fast-paced, capital-intensive business previously in Europe, and was expecting to hear some ROI, some financial metric, some number of percentage of this or that, margin or whatever, and he very much surprised me when he said, I want you to make me proud of my company. And I was like, wow, okay, that was not what I expected. And I'm like, okay. And he said, you'll know it because you'll see it in me. Like, my emotions. And I'm like,
so was he struggling with it at that time, or was that
Yeah, okay. At that time, Midtown was very much we were very much mid-market, I would say, very much a mid-market proposition as a company, and we were having issues with in the industry. We were getting attacked by both ends, by the boutique studios who were coming in at very high prices for a very specific product, like there were a number of cycling, Soul Cycle, and things like that. And then we were also at that time, the evolution of the budget clubs, that the very low price with all the gym equipment, was also sort of eating at us on the other end. And the middle market is a very difficult place to operate in. So we made a strategic decision, I think mid 2015, I'd been there a couple of years at that point, that we were going to change approach and we were going to go high end. And so we decided that with our capital structure, the way the size and scale of our clubs, that we were going to go into the high end market. And so we started transforming, we set about transforming what Midtown was, what Midtown looked like, how we talked about ourselves and our brand in terms of, what would a high-end club have to have? How would it feel? How many people would you need? And from that evolved our flagship Chicago club. We spent $90 million US dollars on building a club that we already owned the land, so we didn't have to buy them. So the $90 million really was the investment in the building. And that club has now become, or we opened in 2017, back into 2017.
Mm-hmm.
That club is now regarded by most people in the world as the number one health club in the world. It's certainly most likely the most profitable, but it has most definitely changed the bar, raised the bar on what a premium operator, a premium health club looks like. So
very cool. Going to the luxury segment is good for those kind of things. I mean, look at the most profitable auto brands as well, are the ones that are in the premium segment, because it's still 4 wheels and a steering wheel.
That's right, and same with hotels, things like that. So, for us, it was just, it made sense. It made for us, for what we want to try and achieve, it's been we spent the last 10 years upgrading all our existing clubs, so transforming all of our other clubs to be at the same level, and so that journey continues. We're about to start work on our final one of our club upgrades, transformations, which starts in December this year in Montreal. So we're pretty excited about getting to that point, and the whole portfolio will then have been elevated and lifted.
Very cool. So continuing on the developing clubs, and this is a technology show. We talk a lot about technology's impact, and this was also the topic of this show episode. So if we go into technology in fitness, so tech is everywhere, it has transformed so many industries, and I think we know that fitness is no exception, from wearables and data analytics and those kind of things. So what role do you see technology playing in the fitness industry at large, but also how you are implementing those technology solutions in Midtown?
Well, if you think about, I think I mentioned, I think I said at the start, I'm very curious and ask a lot of questions. So back in 2016, 2015, 16, when we were building the club, we wanted to understand two things. What do people want to use? What are people using? And how can we tell a story around it? I was at CES that year in Las Vegas, and saw the very first, I think, consumer use of the virtual reality headsets that were coming out at that time. And so it was being demonstrated by the owner of a professional basketball team who were building a new stadium and were trying to sell season tickets. And they were using it to show what your seat would look like, what the view would look like from your seat. And I just figured that was a great way to tell stories about something we were building that no one really knew what it was. Even our members were struggling to comprehend what it is we were doing. And so, because it had never been done before. And so we, along with a a really talented technology and graphics design team out of Miami built a virtual reality club on software, deployed it in the headsets, and then used that as our sales tool. So we didn't build, normally you would build a sales showroom where you would have different materials and different equipment and things like that, and you'd be able to do a little sales pitch and sales tour. We walked we just, here, put this on. And at the time, no one had seen it. So that use of that technology at the time really enabled us to share our story and tell a vision of what we were trying to do. It's since we've moved on, and now you can do a 3D walkthrough on an iPad or on a computer screen. But at the time, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do a fly through that wasn't choppy and all sorts of buffering issues. So the other thing we wanted to do was make sure we put the right equipment in. And so we worked with a company that uses motion sensors. So we put motion sensors on all of our equipment across all of our different clubs to monitor over the course of a week or a period of time what would get used. So what was getting picked up, used, moved.
Because you can get heat maps of behavior patterns and those kind of things. Oh,
so very cool. Heat maps of equipment and created a real live view over time of what members were using when. And so we're able to purchase equipment based on real time data that members were using. And so we weren't guessing. I think they're going to use this. Or I think we need 2 of those, or I think we need 6 of those. No.
And you must be able to predict wear and tear and when you need to repair anything or those kind of things.
So we built that all into our back-end system as well, our maintenance and facilities system, so we could monitor utilization of all that equipment and now in real time. And we some treadmills get used more than others for different reasons. They're next to a wall or a column, or they have a better view, or they're just the first one in line. And in order to make sure that they don't get overused compared to everything else, you can just rotate them around, move them around. But so from a technology perspective, we started using that very early on and using data very early on. I think from a consumer perspective, obviously we've seen the rise of wearables and things like that.
A
lot of fitness or health club companies have tried to leverage that data and utilize that data to help members. But the challenge with that is there are so many different systems and none of them talk to each other. And
you mean by the different wearable companies?
Yeah, so different members were using different things. I mean, we find that we still have members who use Fitbits. We have people who use Whoop. We have people who use the Apple Watch. We have people who use the Samsung. People use Garmin. Some people use Oura rings. Some people use other rings, different types of them. And so, for us to then pull that information into one usable database is next to impossible. And so, and also from a privacy perspective, a data privacy perspective, we've got to be very careful. Biometric data is heavily protected and heavily scrutinized in all countries, but particularly in Europe, much more so even in Europe, US. So we have taken the approach very much that wearable technology is your thing. That's up to you as an individual, and we're not going to try and grab that. We're not going to try and get into that scenario. We use technology for checking members in. So we use RFID wristbands for lockers. We're a cashless club, so everything is done for point of sale using your RFID band. That enables us to heat map if we want to. We don't use it very often, but we do check utilization in studios. So how many people are in the space at any given time, so that we can judge whether or not that program that we're offering is successful. But we are very deliberate in how we use it from that perspective. I would say that, you know, there's more, as we start talking about technology in terms of the human body, there's more upside in terms of biohacking. What people are looking for, you know, red light therapy has become a new thing, although it's been around for decades. We're seeing people look at magnetic resonance or frequency technology, also been around for a long time, but now starting to see more of a utilization in that area. And so how does that play a part in rebalancing people's nervous systems and things like that? You're looking at vagus nerve simulators, little massage devices around.
You have some little thing on your neck, right?
Yep, either side of your vagus nerve that can stimulate brainwave, calming technology. So there's a number of different things happening within technology. A lot of it is going to be very hard for the fitness industry to actualize or to use, because a lot of it is very much individually focused. And I know there's a lot of conversation within the industry about AI coaches and having a personal trainer in your app that utilizes AI technology to recommend workouts. So it's like a workout recommender, basically. We as a business, we have to very much pick and choose where we invest in what we choose to do with technology. In fact, our approach with technology is very much high tech to be high touch. So we want to be very high tech in terms of what we do. We are very invested in AI. We already use 2 AI systems within our business, and have done for a couple of years. We were very early into the whole, it was called machine learning at the time. So we were early into machine learning, but no one uses that terminology anymore.
No, not anymore.
No, and so although basically that's what AI is, in its basic sense. But we have to be very careful as a high-end product. We still want that human touch, that human contact, and so how we describe it internally is high tech to be high touch.
Okay, so that's what you mean. So you use advanced technology, but it is with the purpose to improve human connection, or like getting out of the way, basically.
Yeah. So for example, one of the things that we use a retention, or I guess it's an attrition predictor. So we built about a year ago. We deployed we built it in-house with our development team, our technology development team, and attrition predictor. So we know, based on history, based on previous members that have cancelled, what behavior leads to cancellations. And so we can predict with a fairly high accuracy rate. I think the machine is constantly learning. I think it's about 80, we're about 85% now accurate. Started out about 60% accurate. So it's just climbing over the last year and a half or so, gradually. And it'll never get to 100, because there's always sort of anomalies and things that happen. But we think 85 to 90 is pretty accurate. And what it does, it raises alerts for people who have fallen out of their habit of using the club. And one of the goals is habit creation, is behavior. If you're going to have transformation, our job is to inspire people to transform their lives, you have to create a habit. You have to create a healthy habit of things you do that are good for you. Not necessarily, it's not necessary from our perspective, at least, that you lose 5 pounds or gain 5 pounds of muscle mass, or that you can stretch more, or you're more calm. That's all good. I mean, all of that is what we want.
That's the outcomes, right? You want to build the habits of showing up.
Right. We want you to show up, and we know that from a mental health perspective, showing up for yourself triggers serotonin, it triggers dopamine, it triggers those good vibe hormones, so that you feel better about yourself because you showed up for yourself. So we feel that our responsibility is to help people feel better. Just how do we make you feel? We want you to feel better about it. Even if you just came for a coffee and you sat down with a friend, you sat down with somebody or a coach, had a conversation, you're going to walk away feeling like, okay, I've done something that was a good thing today. It was nice for me. I enjoyed that. And so we want people to feel better about themselves and about having done something for themselves, because the outcome will then take care of itself. It's very much from a business perspective. You talk about, do you focus on the profit? Do you, the EBITDA or the profit of the business? Do you focus here, or do you focus on the revenues and the payroll and the operating expenses? Because those are the things you can manage.
Yeah.
This is the outcome. So we're focused. So instead of focusing on the outcome, we want to focus on the levers, which is the behavior change and showing
the
up.
Activities that leads to the results that they want.
Correct. Very much so. So that's how we see high tech, and we're using the predictive indicator model to find people who have fallen through the cracks or fallen out of with us.
And then that would raise an alert with one of your team members so that they can engage in a conversation or those
what
kind
it does is it looks at your behavior, looks at your history, looks at anything you might have purchased in the past, whether that be a coffee or a smoothie or a tennis racket or a pair of shoes or anything that you've purchased within the club or used within the club, any program, you did a tennis lesson or you had a coaching session, you did Pilates, whatever it is. And it identifies the last person you had contact with and sends an alert to that person. And then that person is responsible for picking up the phone, sending a text message, sending an email.
Very cool.
Connect with you and asking you what we can do, and are you okay? We've missed you. We don't know what's going on. Is there something that we can do to help you back in and start that journey again and start getting back on the horse?
Yeah, super cool. So do you have your own team that focus on this, that tweaking the customer experience, or how do you?
So
building out digital experiences.
Right. So what we've done is we've taken the high technology approach to looking for people to help.
Yeah.
And then with the high touch, we've deployed our own teams in each of our clubs to connect with those people. So high tech to be high touch. It'd be very easy for us to actually run that through our CRM system and automatically send an email, automatically send a text message, automatically push a notification in the app. We could do that. Probably, with a couple of app dev guys in a 3 or 4 weeks, but we've chosen not to. We've chosen at this point to say no. That is part of our high touch component, and in a similar way, we're about to deploy our first agentic AI solution to support our sales process. So that goes live in a month, November the 1st. And at the moment, we're training the model that we have, but it will only handle incoming inquiries. So incoming, whether it's text, phone, or email inquiries from our website, our social media channels. So it will handle the initial contacts, set the appointments at the club, do the follow-up to confirm the appointment. And then what that allows is our team at the club, our sales team, our membership advisors at the club, to meet that person at the front door and build that connection at that point. So it's taking all of the legwork and admin time that the sales teams don't like to do, because it's like really, because you end up with a lot of no's. You end up getting no, and one yes, and it can be pretty deflating. But also, it's a lot of time in front of a computer. It's a lot of time on a telephone, and the people that we have in our clubs are passionate about helping people. We're not selling we're not, first of all, we're not selling anything that's bad for you. We're not selling tobacco or drugs or anything else. We're not selling, cheap cars on a side of a road. Not that anyone, that's a bad thing, but we're selling a high-end product that's healthy, that's good for you. And so our people are passionate about that. They all are active users of the club. All of our staff use our facilities. We encourage that. And so getting them in front of people, that's what they're best at. That's what where they connect. So that, again, high tech to be high touch. That's how we view it. And that's how we're using technology within our company, and how we're using advanced technology. I think we're in a process where we're quite a long way down the path of using AI in different ways that are really impactful on our members and by default on our business.
Yeah. So you segue nice into the next topic, or like the AI topic, because I mean the title of this show is AI and fitness. So it sounds like you've already been exploring these things quite a lot. Is there any other? Yeah, it's like, what's your approach to leadership on AI initiatives and is there any advice that you have for other business executive or business leaders looking to figure out the right use case and what to do and what to not?
I think the first thing I would say is don't be afraid of it. Lean into it. It's coming whether you like it or not. I mean, it's going to impact us all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whether we agree with it or don't or disagree with it, it's happening. It's here now, and so I liken it very, very much to the early days of the internet, and I'm old enough to remember that, unfortunately. And so, it's very much, if you lean in early, you're able to take advantage of it. I think that we've encouraged our teams to try it. We got everybody ChatGPT licenses when it first came out a couple of years ago. Gave everybody access to it. Said, look, use it. Then at one point we said, okay, we turned Google off. We said, you're not allowed to use Google for search. You got to use ChatGPT.
Oh, really?
So that was early. So we were pretty early on that. And one of the things that we're seeing from our marketing team, actually, this came out of our marketing teams using it, was that people, once you've started using whether it be ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or Perplexity or whatever system you want to use, when you start using that for search instead of Google, you don't go back to Google. You're not going to go start. The Google search has, for us at least, dropped by about 30% in the last 6 months. So people, a lot of our marketing dollars was spent on Google AdWords. Optimizing the flow of people when they hit that AdWord into our website through our marketing pipeline and so into our sales pipeline. It's dropped by about 30% in the last 6 months. People are not, and I think that's a trend that's going to continue. So we've built websites over the last 15 years, 20 years even, for SEO optimization. Search engine optimization has been a terminology that any marketeer worth their salt has staked their career on for the last 10, 15. And so now you're having to change. You're having to look at it and go, well, we've started talking internally about GEO, generative engine optimization. And what does that mean? And when you search, if I search, even if I'm using Google language and I search fitness club near me or gym near me, the results that you get by comparison out of ChatGPT or Perplexity or even Gemini, which is Google's obviously AI version, versus Google search are radically different. And so
we learned that so you touch on something that we encounter quite a lot now with other clients, but we did this also for ourselves, and to basically try to map out how different AI models perceive our company. And Gemini thought that we were a cannabis company, which And yeah, no, I don't know how that, but probably because we're based in Amsterdam.
Probably.
But we have a few of our assignments we're working on now is trying to map out what is it that impacts the model's perception and of the client's customers, or of the client's business, so that it can more accurately help them buy or reach or find the client's business. Because people are not starting on Google anymore. They're starting asking questions and having conversations.
Right. And so I would say lean into that and let your people, teams experiment with it. You have to be careful with some of it because it still needs auditing, and it still needs to, you need to be careful of hallucinations. The Google, the AI models still hallucinate. In your case, obviously, because you're in Amsterdam as a cannabis company, but there's all sorts of different things that it can come up with if you're not careful. But understanding it, like, what is it looking for? What is it putting back in front of the consumer when they're looking for something? And people are only going to get better at prompting. Teach your people to prompt. How do you like learning how to? We all learned how to Google it back in the day, but we did. Before that, we didn't really know how to search the internet. There was a number of companies before Google that were trying to do it, but Google just grabbed the market share, and it became a term. I Googled it, and so I don't know if you're going to chat GPT it or whatever, but I think the way you prompt for information is different, very different than what we use with Google. So I think encouraging your teams to find out, work with it. We've also started testing, building APIs within, and having AI build some of our APIs, some of our development work that we're doing with our technology teams, and then having our teams audit it. So, having it write its own code, and so using the system to write code, but then having our team audit that code to make sure it's what we want it to do. So you still have to have the intelligence, the experience, the thoughtfulness of a human to look at it and make sure that it's right, that it's accurate. Because you don't want to deploy it and just trust it. I'm sure it'll get better over time, but it's still going to require human input, at least at the start and at the finish, at the beginning and the end. And it's only as good as what you prompt. It's only as good what you ask it to do.
Garbage in, garbage out.
That's exactly right. Always been the same and still will be.
Yeah. So I'm getting a little flag that we need to move to the next question. So looking at, it seems like Midtown, you're on top of the new technologies and feeding this into how you do things, both for the members and for how you run the business. Looking ahead, like what are the, health and fitness feels like it's just on a raging trend upwards. So what are you most excited about in trend-wise? And I saw also there was a listener question from the chats, like, how do you distill between what's has real legs and what's just a fad? Is there anything you're
That's a great question. It's a question that we ask ourselves all the time. We look, the rise of fitness and health awareness. If there's anything to be grateful for COVID for, that's it. That is put people's health and wellness front and center. And although I wouldn't wish to go through it again, I don't wish it on anybody. The fact that people are more aware of their health and well-being now is a really good thing. I think that there's a big trend, a continuing trend for strength training, and so predominantly driven by women. I think men have always gravitated, not completely, but not exclusively, but felt more comfortable lifting weights strength training activities.
Yeah, it used to be only for the gym bros, so to speak, but now you see, the research shows that it's just good, period.
It's just good for everybody. It's good for men, it's good for women. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do it with the aim of being Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can do it with just being able to live healthier and better and have less pain in your body. Support your spine and core body strength, etc. But so I think that's going to continue. That trend is going to continue. I don't think cardio is going away. People still walk or run on treadmills and ellipticals, particularly in climates where the winters can be dark and long and wet, and Northern Europe, Northern North America, those parts of the world, that's not changing. And I think that, but what I do see happening is a trend towards more holistic health, less about what you look like and more about what you feel like. There's more, yoga is still very strong. Pilates is having its moment now, which is great. And so very much about how you move your body rather than what your body looks like. And I think that's healthy from a lot of levels, not just physically, but also mentally, emotionally. There's much more of a view about being strong is better than being skinny. And for a long time, the fitness industry perpetuated that notion of skinny was healthy, and thin was thin was in. And I think over the last maybe 5 years or so, and maybe this is coming out of COVID as well, it's like, no, we want you to be strong. You've got to be, to be fit, to be healthy is to be strong. It's not to be skinny and thin. What we're looking for is people who move, who are active, who engage, are able to engage with life, do things, whether that's, I want to be able to walk my dog, I want to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle, anyone who had kids later in life like I did, and as a little bit older as a parent, one of the things that we're trying to do is make sure that we're around for our grandkids. We're around to walk our kids down the aisle if that's what they want to do. And so it's just a matter of being available to live to the fullest. And I think that attitude has changed, and I think that's driving some of these trends. There's also the trend around community, or looking for community. I think there's we talked a little bit earlier before we started on the loneliness epidemic. People are, I think there's a new study that just came out that said that there are more people between the age of 25 and 35 living alone than ever in human history. And so you think about that, and that is, that has social impact. That some of it can be positive, I'm sure, but there are a lot of unintended consequences of that, I think, from a human connection and relationship perspective. And we, one of the things that at Midtown we're focused on is trying to build communities. And one of our strategic anchors, we have 3 strategic anchors and connected communities. And we believe, because that's how we started, that's how the company exists, was those connections, that community. How can we best create opportunities for people to connect, whether it be in a wine tasting event we host, whether it's having a band on the pool deck, whether it's in a yoga class, whether it's in a boot camp class where you're working with somebody else, the instructors are actively introducing people to each other, actively creating some form of connection with the group, so that we can help try to play our part in making Midtown a place where you feel you want to come to. We want you to come. We want you to be here. This is not the old school gym where you paid your membership fees and they hoped you didn't show up.
Exactly.
That is not what we're about. We want you to be here. We want you to be present. We want to help you. We want to be a part of your life. We want Midtown to be a central component of your lifestyle. And we will do everything in our power to try to help you live the best life you can.
Wow. I think that was the first time I heard someone say drinking wine at the gym.
Yeah, well, look, everything in moderation.
Sounds
Right?
like it would be a European concept, but it's
That's
not.
right. It's a very European concept. Look, we have large restaurants, and we have, one of our clubs has got 3 different bars. So we very much
Wow.
believe in social fitness, social health, and
Yeah.
connection. Um, and we have all sorts of wine events and food tasting and all sorts of things going on in our restaurants and our bars all the time. You'd probably be amazed to know that our number 1 seller in our restaurant is a fried chicken sandwich with French fries. That's the number
Oh,
1.
all right. I mean, so it's like, you put in the work and you're gonna have a reward, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And we
Yeah.
sell a lot of salads as well. And we sell a lot of fish. But our number 1 seller across pretty much all clubs is a fried chicken sandwich or a hamburger.
Very cool. So I think we have time for one more question from me, and then we have one more listener question. So I was curious about your leadership style. So you
Okay.
led teams in very different contexts, from running professional rugby team to managing, now luxury fitness clubs.
Mhm.
How would you describe your leadership style, and what lessons have carried with you as gone through your career? Like, what have you learned that you can still apply?
Yeah, I think if I go back to my rugby days, being very much aware of a team mindset and of being a coach leader,
Mhm.
so coaching people. So very much, and as an educator or a teacher coming out of university, my style is very much to develop people, to coach people. Um, I have evolved, I think, over time to be very much more open and transparent and vulnerable with people. So, I think historically leaders are taught to be, you don't give anything away, you don't share anything about yourself. You want the strong type and you want the charismatic, big personality type. And I think that's overplayed, and I think that's a misconception. What I would say is you need to build teams that have trust based on vulnerability. And the only way you create a vulnerability-based trust environment is by the leader sharing, being open about their mistakes, being prepared to put their hand up and say, I got that wrong, or I need help, or I don't understand. Can somebody look? The higher you get up an organization and the bigger your organization gets, the dumber you get. Like, if you think about this in terms of, the further I get up our organization, though I'm in I can't get much higher in my organization. I have a team of people in our technology department who are far smarter than me in their area of expertise. I have a whole team of people in marketing who know more about marketing than I'll ever know. They've probably forgotten more than I will ever know.
Mm.
So the higher up an organization you get, the dumber you get by default. My job is not to do those things. My job is to create the environment where those people can thrive. And so as a leader, how do I create that? I create that by sort of leading by example, by showing people, by asking questions. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Can you clarify that? What does that mean? And then by using my curiosity, by saying, how does that help us move forward? Or is that something we should continue to do? Or should we stop doing this? We've done this for a long time, but should we stop it? Asking those sort of open-ended questions, but creating that environment where, look, guys, from a personal perspective, I'm struggling. I'm feeling like I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling like really lost with what we're doing at the moment. I need your help. I need you to help me break things down a little bit and slow down, because we're doing so many different things, and I'm struggling to keep up with all of it and to keep everything in line. I feel like we're getting a little lost. Having those conversations as a leader lets everybody else in the room take a deep breath. Lets everybody else go, it's okay to not feel okay all the time. It's okay to put my hand up and go, guys, I need to just step off the carousel for a while. I need to step off. I need to take a deep breath. I need a long weekend. I need to do something else. I need help with this project, and not see that as a weakness, but see that as a strength of the team.
No, I love that. You're putting yourself not across the table but with them. Like, we're here together, and I'm not perfect just because I'm on the top of the pyramid.
Exactly. And nobody's perfect, and no human being is perfect, and I'm certainly not. And I make mistakes, and I take responsibility for those mistakes in front of everybody. And you have to, as a leader, because there's nowhere to hide. The buck stops with you. But what you want to understand about that is that I will back you. I will back you up, and I will take the hit for it, whatever that is, because that's my responsibility to you as a leader. And my job is to help you be the best versions of yourselves, be the best you can be. And that helps us as a team achieve our team goals. And our team goals are the single most important thing for the business. And what is our most important thing right now? That one thing. That's what we're all trying to deliver on. We're all here in the same, trying to elevate and hit that goal. And we have one goal as a company, and we define it very clearly. And we change it all the time, like not all the time, but every year or so we say, what's most important right now? What's our most important thing right now? Coming out of COVID, we were closed for 6 months. It was building our membership base back up. We have to look at all of our sales processes. How do we put money into marketing in a better way? How are we more effective and efficient in marketing? How much money can we deploy to marketing to drive leads? How many people do we need in order to service those leads? We want to build our membership base back as fast as possible, because that drives, that allows us to do other things in terms of grow the business in other ways and invest back in the clubs. We need to invest in certain areas. So that was the one most important thing coming out of COVID. At the moment, our one most important thing is utilize our technology platforms, unleash our potential. So our one most important thing now is unleash our potential. We have all of these technology platforms that we have built, and some are deployed, some are not yet deployed, but we need to use those from high tech to be high touch. Like, we need to activate those. So that's the most important thing for our business right now, is getting those things live and active. But as a leader, creating that environment where people know that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to make mistakes. Fail fast, fix fast, learn fast.
I think you just ended this conversation very nicely. I think we should stop it there. Thank you, Jon.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure. I think we could continue a lot longer if we had a little bit more time. But
thank you very much.
So take care and see you.
Thank you.
Again, thanks to Jon for joining us and sharing his story. Big thanks to everybody who tuned in and asked good questions. Unfortunately, I saw that we had a lot of questions, but we didn't make time for them. Before you go, I would like to ask you to help us make the show better. There should be 3 questions in a poll showing up somewhere in your Zoom interface. And additionally, if you would like to participate in the future for the live events and ask more live questions and join all the fun live, you can get notified when the next show is about to drop at infinum.com/delivered and subscribe to the newsletter. Again, my name is Georgios, and this has been Delivered, and have a wonderful afternoon, day, or morning, or wherever you are. Ciao.